Closed Circuit Network.
Closed Circuit Network after dark. And as I promised y'all, man, we got the man of the hour in the building right now, man. East Texas legend, man, from radio to business. You know what I'm saying? Without no further ado, I'm gonna give y'all Brain from Brain Smoke Vape, man. What's going on, man?
I gotta say, first off, how crazy it is now to be known as Brain from Brain Smoke Vape. I go places that people are like, "Aren't you the vape guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me, the vape guy." But radio before the vape world. I was in radio for almost 18 years. Program director, music director, on-air talent. I did a little bit of all of it.
Already. You know, that's where I know you from the radio starting out, man. Give them a brief rundown on that, man, on how long you was with that and everything.
Man, like I said, I was in radio for about 18 years, and man, I did it all. I started at the Blaze. I did the night show there. I was 6 to 10 Monday through Friday for about 6, 7 years, and then I ended up breaking away from that and going over and taking over another radio station, 95.3 and 102.3 The Breeze. I was the program director, the music director. I oversaw promotions, and we were just in the streets, and I did that for another 8, 9 years.
Already. Now I see you into the smoke shops, Brain Smoke Vape. How long you been doing that? And just give them a quick rundown on that.
I opened up my first shop in July of 2020, and I mean I'm in Tyler, and we grinded that thing out for a while, and then about a year later, I opened up one in Longview, and shortly after, I opened up two at the same time, one in Jacksonville and one on Broadway in Tyler, and then I just recently opened another one in Lindale, and I'm partnered in another five. So, man, from 2020 to now, 10 shops.
Okay, now just for the average everyday person, consumer, customer, or just somebody who's curious, man, what does it like for something like what you doing for like the smoke shops? How much time and effort does it require for you to have all of the products, everything the people in the public are looking for, and stay updated on this? How much time has you put into this stuff, man?
Man, our inventory is extensive, and it's pretty elaborate, and it takes a lot of know-how, but also overhead, and I mean the expenses on inventory are astronomical. But the hardest part is just trying to keep up with, like you said, like, man, and when you come into one of the shops, I mean, you'll see there's thousands of products in there, and trying to stay on the cutting edge of what's coming down the pipe and what's going to be hot. What's coming down the pipe? Yeah, but yeah, you just gotta have, in any industry that you're in, you gotta just have your finger on the pulse. And man, I mean, if you don't, then there's a disconnect between you and the streets or the people. And if that disconnect is there and people see it and notice it, they're not going to spend their money with you.
Yeah, that's right, man. And like I say, I appreciate to you, man. Salute to you and everything you're doing because it opened up an avenue for me and one of my business ventures is Loud Be Quiet, Air Freshener, man. And everybody knows now that
Correct.
they can go to Brain Smoke Vape and get Loud Be Quiet, and that's a consistent place that we can send them to. It's saying that, how hard is it to keep up with what we're going to talk about today, the SB3 thing, with the laws and how they are steady changing when it comes to something operating something like a smoke shop?
Man, look at it like this. Um, every single thing that we have in the shop is completely legal.
Yeah.
It's above the legal bar, right? So, man, imagine operating in an environment like that where you've got to constantly be looking over your shoulder because the federal government could step in any minute and say no more flavored vapes. And man, that's one leg out from underneath us. The state of Texas right now with this SB3 thing, at any given moment, like, we'll talk about that here in a few, but at any given moment they could just step in and say no more of this, and then like the industry is shut down at that point. And man, they're really doing it to make room for something else that we'll discuss here in just a few. We'll get into all of that, but interesting.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I'm going to take that on into the SB3 thing. For people who don't know about SB3 and the bill in the House and Senate of Texas, it has actually passed. And
Hmm.
they do like a big ceremony when they sign all these bills, and then they'll come into law in September. So let everybody understand who don't know. Like, what is this SB3 thing, and how can it affect just the average everyday person out here in Texas?
Man, that's a lot to unpack. But let me give you a real quick rundown, real quick, because I think a lot of people are kind of confused as to what it actually is. Is marijuana legal? Is it not legal? Let me give you a backstory real quick. So when they were trying to introduce CBD into the marketplace, they knew that they had to put a cap on the THC somehow. They didn't know much about the plant. They knew that there were deltas involved. If you walk into a dispensary and buy something THC related and you send it to a lab, when they test it, there's 4 lines of THC, 7, 8, 9, 10. Collectively, that makes up the THC content. Man, you don't really get anything off of the 7 or the 10. Everything relies on the 8 and the 9. So when they were putting the law in place, they didn't know much about the delta, so they put the law around the delta 9 because that's a stronger cannabinoid. But with that, they said, man, if you're going to sell anything in stores, hemp related, that delta 9 content has got to be under 0.3%. So, man, and CBD was entered into the marketplace and it did good for a while. But then people started realizing that they can split these deltas up and they could stifle one and magnify another one. And man, and then delta 8 was born. And people that were using it in the very beginning, man, it was a lot of like potheads that were coming in and getting it. But after a while, all of that tapered off, and it was really people that needed like as like a medication that were coming in and buying it. People about my age and up. And man, and it was great while it lasted. But then after a while, people started realizing that euphoric feeling they were feeling didn't last that long with Delta 8. They were still buying things from the black market on the streets. So eventually they started finding these other isomers in the plant, THCO, which really didn't change anything. It just dragged the euphoric feeling out for a little while longer. They banned that, which was perfectly fine. The industry was like, man, but then they started finding HHC, and THCA is the new thing. And that's the hot thing because that is as close to the real plant as you can get. Man, so when this thing is going, I see firsthand being in the stores, like how it is affecting people's lives on a positive note. Now,
Yeah.
on a negative note, I mean, it's THC. It's not methamphetamines or cocaine or heroin or, it's not one of those types of, this is a natural plant we're talking about. And man, I see firsthand the people that benefit from these things. So for them to try to crash that out on everyone after they've allowed it for so long, I do agree, regulation. I understand that because, man, there's gummies in stores you go into and they're, 1,000 milligrams per gummy. Why? You don't need that. Most people
Yeah.
are getting those gummies and chopping them up and making smaller pieces. Just buy smaller pieces. I mean, regulate it. I mean, I'm all for regulation. A ban is not the way to go. That is prohibition, and that's how the mafias and all like all of the cartels, and that's how everything started. So Texas as a whole has to understand that, man, just because you outlaw this doesn't mean that people are going to go, well, it was fun while it lasted, man. I guess no more. That's not the case. When you take this medication away from people, they're going to the streets to get it. And all of that
Yeah.
money from the streets is getting funneled right back to the cartel. And man, that's why you see people like politicians standing up saying, man, this bill is a gift wrapped present to the cartel. Like, here you go make this money. We're giving them the green light. So, man, there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't ban it, and there's maybe 2 reasons why you should regulate it. Regulation is always the key. Man, you look at this. There's over 8,000 shops active right now
Yeah.
in Texas. 8 billion in sales in 2024. There's over 53,000 people employed in all of these stores, not even counting the farmers, the agriculture, all of that aspect of the whole thing. But you pass this bill and September 1st comes along and you're like, no more, man, you're putting 53,000 plus Texans out of a job. Like, who's footing the bill for for all of the unemployment? And it doesn't add up. Like, the math doesn't math. So this is a key point for Abbott because this is going to make or break his political career. Honestly, I believe this because, man, look, so are you going to roll with Dan Patrick, the guy that, all the constituents, all of the donors, all of these people that are throwing money, are you going to roll with them? Because the people are telling you, man, don't ban this thing. Look at all of the other states, man. Like, so look at it like this. Abbott is wanting, they promised to eliminate, who was it? It was Patrick was promising to eliminate property taxes for everyone in Texas. But if they, like, since they're losing the revenue from this THC ban, since they're losing that revenue, now they're like, oh, yeah, well, we can't eliminate the property taxes for you anymore. But what we'll do is we'll be lowering the school property taxes. Bro, that's what I'm telling you. The math doesn't math.
Circut Network.
You were answering a lot of my questions, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna rewind a little bit because
Go for it.
we know almost every state around us, they're legalizing it. You know what I'm saying? On the state level, from New Mexico to Oklahoma, even Arkansas, and I don't know too much about Louisiana, what they're doing, but we got to look at it like this here, as in reference to, like you saying, the crime element of it. We are a border state. So I just feel like they're kind of playing into that because they also make a lot of money off of the criminalization and putting people in jail for it as well. And I just want to see your take on that, when they could easily tax it and eliminate that problem and also gain more revenue from taxing these products versus criminalizing it. So what's your take on the criminalization and what they're trying to do here in Texas?
Man, Texas, we call it the 3 C's. Man, they make their money off of 3 C's: crude, cattle, and convicts. That's the bottom line. Man, I think if you allow everything to be sold the way that it is continuing to be sold, and that's what this whole thing is, a political game, man. So these are my own thoughts. I feel like it would be wise for them to just keep it the way that it is, because, man, you're in a roundabout way saying that it's legal to an extent, but we can still prosecute for having actual marijuana on you.
Exactly.
You don't want me to get into the logistics of convicts and incarceration, because I'm one of those people at one point. So I'm biased. So let's just bypass that whole thing.
Yeah. I was just looking at it from a perspective of, hey, man, any smart businessman would look at this and say, hey, we can tax this. Everything's leaning towards the federal government probably will eventually, make it legal nationwide. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why are you fighting?
It is legal on a federal level. It is legal on a federal level.
Well, it's legal. The way they did it, from my understanding, is they leave it up to the states. And then each state can do whatever they want to do. But like at this point, it's more states that it's legal in than it is illegal, or just not participating or whatever. Okay, now we talked about Abbott, everybody like that, but this goddamn Patrick is really the mastermind that's really pushing this bill. If you would, man, give me a breakdown on your knowledge of this guy right here, because he's just a real clown to me. He's the type of guy that he needs more light shined on some of what he got going on.
Are you talking about Abbott or Patrick?
No, I'm talking about Patrick.
The funny thing, that Patrick is the one like spearheading this whole situation.
Yeah.
And Patrick wasn't even born in Texas. Patrick was raised in Baltimore, Maryland. He comes from radio as well. And then, he had a couple of failed business attempts and went back to radio. He got into newscasting in Houston, and he was a sports newscaster, from what I believe or what I understand. And then, just kind of fell into the lieutenant governor thing, and it's been a snowball ever since. And man, I don't know what's going on right now over there, because there's a lot of things that are just like that people aren't even aware of, making it illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to be on any form of social media. And they're going to hold the social media companies liable. Whenever you're setting up a social media account, if you don't have a driver's license, you're out of there. That's about to pass.
Wow.
Like I think it's already passed the Senate, or it's done. This is coming, man. And from what I understand, they banned they're talking about banning sexual toys.
Circut Network. Hey, shut up, bitch. Look at you. You smell like you just came out of the bathroom and didn't
Oh,
use
shut
no
up,
loud.
fool. You stink so bad your ass in your face. What's that smell?
That ass stinks so bad you can eat 2 squirts of loud. Be quiet. Like, your woman stinks so bad she thought it was good. She was good. That's it. You stink so bad the rap tripped me and roast stole my money. I'm D3K. I ain't playing. Let's get out of here.
I think it's time to spray one more time.
I don't stink, so I don't know what you talking about. You can go.
Well, here's some loud be quiet for that shit you be talking. One spray will make your loud be quiet.
That's all right. Your mama so country she got an elevator, thought it was a mobile home.
Circuit Network. Okay, so Brain, whenever you like a situation like this where they're trying to pass a law like this, and you've been ordering from said, distributor or whatever, and you have so much of these products on your shelves or whatnot, like how does a business owner like you navigate something like that, knowing that okay, if they sign this law into I got so many days to sell this, or you just got to throw it away, or how does that work?
What is the exit? I mean, no one really knows yet. Everyone, it's so up in the air. Everyone is just kind of like on standby, like just trying to figure out because we're waiting. Man, so the bill is on Abbott's desk right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
And from what I understand, he has until June 2nd to sign it, which is like a day from now.
yeah,
And then if he doesn't sign it, it just automatically goes into play. But that's not going to just be his out because he could still veto the whole thing, I believe, up until June 22nd. But after that, everything after September 1st, if it goes into play and he doesn't veto it, everything has to be out of the store by September 1st. And man, I mean, it's going to be a free for all. I mean, everyone's going to be coming in trying to stock up, and you remember the toilet paper situation during COVID? It's going to be that
yeah.
almost, but I don't know what we do with the leftover inventory. I mean, I guess we destroy it. No one knows at this point. We're just kind of waiting to see if Abbott opens his eyes and realizes.
Yeah, so basically at this point, the only hope we really have is Abbott just like some kind of way find some sense or something like that, and just don't sign it or actually veto it.
Correct. That's what we're hoping and praying for. We're hoping that he thinks of the veterans. Man, I see people that are dealing with sciatic nerve pain, that man, I mean, people that are dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, people that are dealing with anxiety and PTSD, and old and younger, 23, 28, 29, 50, 70. Like, man, people rely on this stuff. And him being in a wheelchair, I would think that he would be a little, lenient, I guess is
Yeah,
the right word, but it's just sad that, man, people look at this as medication, even though the state of Texas doesn't see it that way. People look at this as a medication, and if they can't get it in the stores and they go to the streets to get it, like at this point, you're pushing people to commit a felony just to get
yeah,
medication.
yeah, yeah. But because I mean, if honestly, if you ask me, it's not what Texas want. It's what they want as politicians. Because I feel like you brought up the point once before. I think you made a post. Why don't y'all just put it up for a vote like they do in these other
Let us,
states?
yeah,
Yeah,
let
just
us
let the
vote
people
for it.
vote on it, and just that way we can just get an honest opinion on. Because put it like this, they should have nothing to worry about because they are voted in by enormous numbers. They are like it's not even close. They winning by enormous numbers. So
Right.
whenever it's a big issue like this, instead of trying to shove it down our throats, why don't you just give us a chance, everybody of Texas, we can go out here to the polls and we can vote on these big bills that are life changing for so many people, and just see what the general public thinks versus trying to shove it down our throats.
That makes too much sense. That makes too much sense. That's calling yellow yellow.
Yeah,
That we can't have that. We got to
yeah,
have
yeah,
some people that see green.
yeah, definitely, man. Um, okay, so for like somebody who is looking at this from a medical standpoint or whatever, and they're coming to you and they're getting their products from you. So after this, if this bill passes, they really have no other options other than to go out of state or just get it illegal or something like that.
You know, it's funny because you say from a medical standpoint, and man, you would be surprised at the amount of people that come into our stores and say, Dr. So and so told me that I needed to come and talk to you. Because a lot of these people that are sick, I mean, like, man, they don't want to take narcotics. They don't want to,
Yeah.
you know, like, man, and the doctors are just like, man, this is out there, and you know, talk to these guys because they can steer you right in dosage and how much, and be safe with it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if everyone else has that knowledge, but man, I mean, if doctors are sending people into us, I mean, that's a pretty big stamp, you know? So when it comes to people getting it illegally outside of, man, I can't even comment on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, I'm just saying that would be kind of dangerous for somebody to be out in the streets trying to, you know, find something that's gonna help them. Okay, now I'm gonna piggyback that off that to this. This is just your opinion, just your educated guess, or however you want to put it. Okay, you can weigh the goods and the bads of THC or any type of products that contain that CBD, anything like that, versus alcohol, which we know we
Mhm.
got alcohol on every corner in every county and every city in this state. Why do you think they are pushing the THC and those products out and trying to keep the alcohol in when it's been proven that's not a good thing when it far as like accidents and first thing another like that?
Let me start with this. Look, man, my biggest fear is like with gummies and edibles and things that we sell in stores, not just me, but all the stores, is that someone that buys it is responsible, right? They go home and they
Yeah.
leave their gummies, they leave the gummies on the table, go to the bathroom, and then their kid runs up and goes, "Ooh, candy." And then opens it up, eats a gummy or two, right? That's always a huge fear of mine. But at the same time, you take that child to the hospital, and the hospital is just going to tell you, like, they're fine. Let's just give it a little bit of time and let it work its way through. And man, it's never a documented case of an overdose or anything on marijuana. Now, I've got some stats right here. My wife gave to me a couple of minutes ago. In 2023, there were over 26,000 alcohol related vehicle accidents in Texas, 1,400 deaths, and thousands of injuries. Man, you'll see Dan Patrick painting this picture like if you eat a gummy, your mind is gonna be altered for life.
Yeah.
And man, there was just he told a story about a guy that was 20 something years old that ate some gummies or something like chocolate or something and stepped in front of a train and killed himself.
It's not like he's weighing the options of anything else that could have been wrong with the guy for his mental. He was just putting it all on the fact that he ate some edibles. Am I correct on that?
That exactly. It was the same thing they were doing with COVID back in the day. Like when COVID was first going around, man, it was like they were like notating all these deaths for COVID. This person, this person, this person. And I'm not discounting it at all, but I know that like if someone died for another reason and they just happened to have COVID, then it got counted as a COVID death. And I mean, those
Yeah.
numbers were inflated like crazy. And man, just this thing is mind-boggling to me that we're even having the discussion about THC and it's this serious and we're wasting this much time and effort on. Again, I understand the regulation. Put the regulation in place, whatever taxes it is that you want. Just be honest, be truthful. Tell us what it is that you want out of this. Now, you were talking about the alcohol thing a couple of minutes ago. Why aren't they saying anything about alcohol, right? So, man, if you really look into the bill and their plans, what they're thinking and what they're talking about is they're wanting the TABC to be the ones to police THC. TABC? Why TABC? Right? So TABC are the police for like alcohol and beverages for like restaurants and bars and beer stores and liquor stores. And TABC is who polices that. So why would the TABC be the one to police THC? Because the way that they're wanting to allow it, seltzer drinks that Anheuser-Busch, which is a huge contributor for Dan Patrick, and he wants to monopolize the market for Anheuser-Busch to come in and sell these 10 milligram seltzers that you can only buy once a day, one for one person each day. That's it, 10 milligrams,
Wow.
Delta 9. And it's so it's crazy how they're just doing this out in the open, like trying to hide anything. There's another company that he was in bed with, Dan Patrick, that same thing, another seltzer, another THC seltzer, and they're a big contributor to his campaigns as well. I just know that if this bill is allowed to go through and September 1st comes around and everything is pushed out of the market and these little seltzers are pushed in, I just know that the following November, Abbott's out of there. Like,
And then too, I look at it like even conservative states like Oklahoma and Arkansas and all that. I mean, they got it. They got they got their system of how they're doing it. I mean, what's wrong with looking at how they're doing it? You know what I'm saying, with the medical aspect of it, and that you have to get a card and all that kind of stuff, and in order, and they making money off the doctors, they making money off of the people who are opening up these types of businesses, they're taxing it, so they're making a lot of money for the state by doing it like this. If they were to do it like the other states would do it, but I just don't understand why Texas has to be so stubborn when it comes to certain stuff like that. Do you have any thought of why?
man, I don't, the whys, I don't even try to waste my time with the whys. There's a lot that they could be doing, that a lot of money that they're missing. I know that if they were to legalize, completely legalize, they would go about it the wrong way, right? Because they would allow Oklahoma and Arkansas and New Mexico and all of these places, California, Colorado, all of these places where it's legal, they would allow them to flock to Texas and just open up shops everywhere. And man, they would just bloom like crazy, because all of these people already have the game plan in other places. If
Yeah, they
Texas
got a
was
head
smart,
start. They got a
Texas
head
would say,
start.
yeah, so right. So if Texas was smart, Texas would say, look, we're gonna allow it, we're gonna make it legal, you're gonna be able to sell it, and we're gonna regulate it. But in order to own and operate any of these stores, you have to be a resident of Texas for at least 2 years or 5 years. Man, that way you keep all of the revenue for Texas from Texas right here in Texas.
Yeah. And just for somebody who, like you say, you're a smoke shop owner yourself, and how much do you, I know you don't know a number or anything like that, but how much do you think that would affect you? Because once the customers, stop coming in for certain things, it slow you down. You have, it maybe hurt your employees, or the number of employees you can employ. Do you think that is going to affect it in that way?
Man, I don't look at it just for me, right? I
Yeah.
look at it as, man, if I have 20 employees, I have 20 employees right now, 20 plus
Yeah.
employees right now. I look at how many people they have in their family, each one, how many mouths are depending on this thing, right? So, man, of course, I'm not trying to close the doors, but man, if the math isn't mathing, then I have no other option. And
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I'm just going to start downsizing. I'll have to close one store at a time until, man, there's nothing left. And I mean, that's the horrible facts of it, that these stores are not going to be, I mean, with the THC gone, man, it's gonna hurt. That's gonna knock out 60% of the sales.
Yeah.
And I mean, with everything, with the nicotine disposables, all of that on the chopping block right now, it's a wrap for everyone. Everyone. We're talking 53,000 plus Texans out of jobs in one day, just over. And then think about all of the mouths that those jobs are feeding. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, that's the point I was getting at. It was like, I don't even think they really even thinking about the impact it's going to have on Texas families and people who are employed by these shops, just like yours, all over the state, that depend on this to to bring home the bacon, as so say, or the bread, or however you want to say it.
Right.
But what do you think would happen if Abbott was to just veto it, or just or whatever the situation may be?
Man, honestly, I think the way that it would play out is that I'm hoping what would take place is that, of course, there's going to be stronger age restrictions, man.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another point, right? Like, so in my industry, there's a lot of things that are sold in the industry, like vape juices and coils and all of those things that come into fruition in a vape shop, right? Because that's what we do. We sell vape products. And man, but a lot of the gas stations, and I'm not knocking anyone, I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. But at one point, man, they sent us letters and threatened everyone. Man, when we walk into your store, if we see one box or one wrapper that's vape related that has a picture of candy or a fruit or a fictionalized cartoon character or anything, we had to tape, and we had to get different boxes for everything and tape everything, and it was just why? And they were saying because of the kids, the kids. And I'm like, we're in a vape shop, bro. Like, we're 21 and up.
Yeah,
we're 21 and up.
It's just like a liquor
So
store.
where are they being exposed to the THC and the vape stuff? Gas stations. Gas stations. I mean, like, you could be any age and walk into a gas station. Or vape shops, you gotta be 21 to even come in the door. Let me see your ID, man. I'm sorry, but you can't make it in. I mean, and that's how it goes. So, I mean, it's not us you need to be worried about. It's the other places, the other avenues where kids are being exposed to. And if you're a gas station owner, I swear I'm not picking on you. I'm just stating the obvious. But man, I'm hoping stronger age restrictions, of course, man, better packaging, like to tell you exactly, man, just put regulations in place that the same thing you do with food. Man, if you don't know what's in that food, then, I mean, force the manufacturer to put the ingredients of what is in that product. Do the exact same thing with this industry, like you did with alcohol. Why would you not do it? Because you're going to kill it. You didn't do that with alcohol. Well, actually, you did. And it didn't work out very well because now it's legal and it's everywhere.
Well, I mean, my thing about it, Brain, is like, it would be different if this was, say, 10 years ago, because from my understanding, like states like Colorado and California, they've been legal like what, almost 10 years now or more. It would be different if you threw this law in here right at that point in time, saying that, hey, we don't want this in our state, whatever, blah blah blah, for whatever reason. It's not enough studies about it. It's like we don't know enough about it. But only thing they're doing is giving the other states a leg up, because it's coming where it's going to be legal nationwide. And why would you want Texans to be in on the industry and everything kind of be homegrown versus, because if they legalize it, say if I'm wrong, that the other states could probably just pump their products into Texas. Am I wrong about that?
You are definitely not wrong about that. Earlier, when I mentioned, like that I was biased, myself got into a situation where a friend of mine in California sent me something and we got caught up, and I lost my job. I lost my house. I went to prison behind that. And we're talking about marijuana. And man, I mean, like, so the stigma has definitely changed since then. I mean, people that are coming into my store and buying these products, principals, teachers, firefighters, I could go on. I mean, people that you just would never, I mean, because it's just, you don't know which of your friends are taking blood pressure medication. I mean, they don't just go around promoting blood pressure. And the fact that these people are using this stuff and no one else knows about it, I mean, that alone should tell you that they're keeping it discreet. They're not promoting it and parading it. Right.
That's their business. And I look at it like this, bro. I mean to cut you off, but
no,
I feel
good.
like some of this stuff is no different than someone going to the store and getting a 6-pack. You get off work in the evening, you go get you a 6-pack, you might drink 3 or whatever, and you go to bed and you wake up in the morning and you start your day. Say this, if I'm wrong, let me know. But to my understanding, that THC products and edibles and stuff like that are just, I think, less dangerous than alcohol. But what's your take on it?
Alcohol is the most dangerous drug you can put into your body. When you're drunk, man, it's actually an allergic reaction. It's your body. So what do? You throw up whenever you vomit whenever you're drunk, and that's your body trying to expel this thing. So, I mean, in alcohol, you will actually develop not just a mental, but a physical addiction. Your body will need it after a while. And it's an ugly thing. I mean, with marijuana, and I know people call it a gateway drug, and it's there's an age appropriate thing for everything. Of course, someone 15, 16, 18, maybe, they shouldn't be using it because they're not, their brain hasn't fully developed yet. Man, think about it, it's not just, man, I see people that are buying these things for their children, even like CBD and CBG and CBN, and they're like, man, I don't, my child is kind of ADD and I don't want to put them on Ritalin or whatever those narcotics are for children. They're like, man, they would rather give them a CBD gummy or a CBD tincture, and it works famously for them. Like, and so you want to take all of that. Just because you don't agree with it, you want to take it away from everyone. If you don't agree with it, then teach your children, we don't do this in our family, and we would appreciate it if you don't do it too, and leave it at that. I mean, why do you want to, just because you don't agree with something, why do you want to take the right away from everyone? That is bananas. That's backwards thinking.
It seems like the politicians want to have more power than they want to just do what's right for the people, what the people want or whatever. Because from my understanding, I was thinking Texas was, was all about freedom, and being able to, because like we got a lot of rural counties and stuff like that where people can go out and do what they want to do out on their land and on their time. But I just kind of wanted to give your last take on, is there anything that the people of Texas can do right now? I mean, like, is there any kind of way we can send letters or phone calls or is anything that you know of that possibly can be done to stop this whole SB3 thing?
Man, one thing that you could do so the age that we're living in, everyone they want everything to be as simple as possible for them. So you go to Facebook and just type in Brain Smoke and Vape. You can go to any one of our pages. You can go to any smoke shop page, and hopefully you can find the petition on their page. But man, honestly, at this point, the only thing you could do is sign the petition. And man, I mean, it's over 100,000 deep already. So man, 200,000 before it hits his desk would be the most lovely thing ever.
Yeah. So basically, what they need to do is go to find Brain Smoke and Vape on Facebook and sign the petition, right?
That's it.
Already, man. Hey, man, it's a pleasure having you, man, and hopefully we can have you back to talk about some more stuff, man. But like before we get out of here, man, give them a roundup of Brain Smoke and Vape and where they can go, and your times or whatever when you operate.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'll do it like this. You can find Loud Be Quiet at Brain Smoke and Vape. There's 2 locations in Tyler. There's one on the Southwest Loop over by St. Louis, if you know where that is. Also on Broadway. There's one in Longview, right across from AMC Theater. There's one in Jacksonville, right on Jackson Street, South Jackson, and one in Lindell. Going out towards Mineola, you'll see it on the left-hand side, both. And then we've got Bullard Vapor Supply, Henderson Vapor Supply, 2 spots in Lufkin, Nacogdoches. We're all over.
Already, definitely, man. And they all support Loud Be Quiet. You can go over there and get it in one of the locations, man. So just before we get out of here, man, you got any last shout outs, man, on social media?
No, I think that's about it, man. I appreciate your time, dude. Thank you for reaching out and doing this. And my time is your time. Anytime you need me.
All right, that's a bit, man. That's Brain, man, from Brain Smoke and Vape, man. Make sure y'all stop by any one of the locations, man. And hey, man, support small business, man, for sure.
Appreciate you, bud.
All right, appreciate you, man.
All right, have a good one.
All right, we out.
Closed Circuit Network, the #1 mixtape series in the streets.